Hello. I hope you can hear me okay. Um, I'm actually just testing out some camera footage or camera setups for future builds and whatnot. So I was just going to get a little feedback on some of you guys that join in and see what's going on. Um, Let me go on the split screen here so you can kind of see me. I'm over here hiding behind the plane. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm actually just testing out some uh, right now I'm kind of working on a little access panel behind the fuel selector in Europa. As you can see right now, it's uh, kind of suspended because I'm working on the tunnel area and what have you. So I don't know. It was just an idea to get kind of a little more interactive setup. Let me know. Can you hear me okay? Go ahead and text in there. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, so working on the brakes. You've probably seen some videos on me uh, setting up the brakes, doing a layup on that, and just I've taken several months off on working on it, unfortunately. So trying to get back in it and finish up this tunnel area. Can't see it right now, but over there I've got the engine and some parts painted that are ready to go underneath. My shop's kind of a mess because it's getting colder outside, so I've kind of brought everything in and whatnot. But like I said, I'm working on the access panel right now behind the fuel selector back in here, and uh, kind of got the nut plates in place this morning. After an EA meeting, actually, we came back. My friend Isaac helped me get these set back in here, and so let me get the panel. It's in its infant stage of getting fitted, and so as you can see, this will go here, and the next thing to do is just set up some blocks in here for the screws to sit in, and then do some micro filler in there to make it pretty, and that should be that. And then on to inside the tunnel to do kind of the finish the brake setup in the firewall, and then start putting in the landing gear frame and all that. So one piece at a time, I guess. The motor that is going in is a 912 ULS. It actually came out of, um, if I recall correctly, out of one of the Liberty prototype aircraft that my uncle helped with Liberty Aircraft. And so I bought that engine off my uncle, and it's now here and ready to go. I've had to take off a few parts that I won't be using, like the alternator and some other things, but uh, I do want to put a like a hydraulic governor on there. It's already got the gearbox set up for the hydraulic governor, and then do some kind of whirlwind prop like my uncle has on his, and go from there. But um, that is something that I need to look at on the fuel gauge. That's one of Bud Yearly's mods, or kind of his recommendation on a sight gauge and whatnot. So when it gets to the bottom of the sight gauge here, it's at the bottom of the saddle over here, so you know how many gallons you've got on each side after that point. But unfortunately, the way it's set up now, it doesn't go all the way to zero, and that's something it does, um, but you can't see it from inside the cockpit. So I'm probably going to have to do some kind of flip plate here to be able to get a good sight down into it and whatnot. Um, that is not my plan for, I guess, or my primary plan for fuel management. I do plan on putting in a fuel flow meter and incorporating that with GPS to get that, I guess, constant situational awareness and whatnot versus a sight gauge that may have errors in it and whatnot. But yeah, it's 90% there, 90% to go, as they say. So, and I've had it on the gear and off the gear a few times. It's just easier with the gear off to kind of rotate it so I can get up under the tunnel a little easier and whatnot. And I sent out all my rudder pedals and engine mount frame and landing gear. I sent that out to get painted. Got it painted with Cerakote gun coatings. They were powder coated, and it was just so easy to chip the powder coating, just hanger rash and whatnot. And I decided to get rid of that and put something a little more robust on there, thinner too, and hopefully a little more lightweight. Engine mount frame and landing gear, I sent that out to get painted. Got it painted with Cerakote gun coatings. Yeah, I agree with the fuel flow meter being way better than a gauge. My uncle, I keep referring to him, he's Kim Prout. He has 111 Echo uniform. It's a classic Europa. It was the first to fly in the United States. And I helped him build that many years ago in the early 90s. And I remember even with that one, there was fuel sight gauge issues. Obviously didn't read correctly on the ground. You had to set different, I guess, markers for when you're in the ground versus in flight. So it's always been a thing. And as you know, flying a Europa, you've got sometimes issues with venting on the fuel tank, so that can give you erroneous readings as well. So the only way to truly do it, in my opinion, is have a fuel flow meter. And always pad your fuel, of course. You don't want to be running it to the end. That's just not good pilotage. Yeah. I want to say I saw that in the plans, and this one does have that orifice in there that you're talking about to minimize that fuel just jumping around and whatnot. So I don't know. It's there. It's just one of those things I've got to address here in a little while before I button it all up to go from there. Another thing that I'm really considering is this plane. I've had it for a while now. I've had it since 2012, and so I've been really slow at getting it built. And one thing that I've been really considering or contemplating is, you hear the stories of the fuel tank cracks and whatnot, and getting back in there to support it a little bit better. It's all buttoned up, obviously, and glued up. And I hate to step back to do that, but it's almost the same work that you would have to do if you had a cracked tank. So I may just wait until that happens, but I don't know. It's one of those stick your head in the sand type thing, just thinking about it. And you cross your fingers and hope you won't have an issue, but you never know. Again, Bud Yearley's got a write-up on his webpage on how to adequately support that, how the failure happens in the tank over time. But we'll see what happens there. I am plagued with analysis paralysis, so I got to remember the goal is to just get it airborne and flying again, or getting myself flying again. And maybe I'll address that later and just try to get the plane finished. Who knows? But I keep referring over here to your text, so I'm sorry. I gotta look over here. Yeah, I saw an email on that with the monthly meeting, and I meant to join the last one, and I was just too busy personally to attend. But I do need to get on that Zoom meeting next time it's around. whatnot. I'm not, I haven't been very involved in the Europa family, if you will. I was initially, but with Ivan Shaw and my uncle and that small group when it started out, I just kind of, I was a teenager at the time, and uh, after my uncle got it, I graduated high school in the late '90s, and then went off into, I went to Embry-Riddle, then in the United States Navy, and then here I am. So I've been away from GA for a while and trying to get back into it and whatnot. But yeah, I agree with you. Vote to fly the plane. Yeah, no doubt. The analysis paralysis is a very real thing, and it's the number one enemy to progress. And I need to just keep it simple and trudge on. And no matter how well you think you're going to plan something, you're always going to go, well, now if I could go back, I'd change that. And so it's just a matter of getting it done and the best you can, the safest you can, and address those problems as they come up, obviously. But you're always going to go, well, now if I could go back, I'd change that. And so it's just a matter of getting it done and the best you can, the safest you can, and address those problems as they come up, obviously. Oh, I appreciate that. I have a friend that's always talking about going up that way to go flying, and I've got a really good friend that lives in Alaska, and one of my bucket list items is to get up there and do some bush flying. Nothing serious, just I guess experience that, if you will. Most likely not in this airplane. Talking about going up that way but because of tri gear and whatnot versus the mono. But you never know. But the main thing is that's one of my bucket list things, is just get out there and experience that, and land somewhere remote, go fishing, and turn around and come back. That sounds like fun to me. Camping, what have you. I'll definitely look you up when we get that far. If I ever get up there, for sure. I'm gonna go to the bigger camera so you see me a little bit better. But that sounds like fun to me. Camping, what have you. Well, let me know what you think. I'll definitely look you up if you want me to do, like, I plan on doing a little bit of work on the access panel tomorrow, and I can fire this up and you can just spy on me. I'll probably turn the audio off so it'll just be visual. But if you think it's kind of cool, entertaining to watch, just to see me try to figure out the simplest of things, and let me know what you think. I might refer to chat if I get stuck on something, or what do you think? And like, I plan on doing a little bit of work on the access panel tomorrow. If you think this is something that you would be entertained watching, then let me know. If you think you'd rather just see me do kind of the more production videos like I have in the past, it's a learning experience for me. I know some of the other ones that I've done, the music's crap, or too loud or whatnot, and that's just learning the ways of what you hear on your computer versus what you upload later, and it just, the audio goes completely different. But if that's something that you'd like more of, then I'll continue doing some live stuff, or if people don't appreciate it or find it kind of boring, then I may knock it off and go back to kind of the production stuff, if you will. But I think this is a successful test. I'm using OBS software to do the cameras and the kind of the framing around it and whatnot. So little different for me. I haven't used this program before, and so trying to keep it a little unique. I've got like Be Right Back pages. I'll switch to that real quick. It's got a picture of my Uncle Kim with his Europa in it. You've probably seen it before. I think the audio goes away when I switch to it, so. Oh no, I'm still here. But as you can see, the Be Right Back page, that's so I could take a break and you're not having to watch me, pick my nose or something. But that's my Uncle Kim in his Europa, giving a little homage to him. But and also the video you see there in the startup screen. And the Be Right Back is a flight I had with him years ago. Just a little filler information, so you're not sitting there looking at something boring. But yeah, well, that's fun. I envy you going flying tomorrow. Hope it's good weather for you. Yeah, I need to get back in the air for sure. It's been a minute, and getting involved with EAA and a few other people. Hopefully get a little more flight time under my butt. But I really can't wait to get what I remember of the Europa with my uncle's plane. Just how great of a machine it is. Can't wait to get it back in, or get this one in the air. Experience that. I've got a family, and I'd love to teach my girls how to fly. That's the primary driver for me to convert it from a mono wheel to a tri-gear, so it can be an easier plane to teach them how to fly and whatnot. So that's kind of a motivator for me. Give them something to learn, life skill, I guess you could say. But they used to sit in it when they were really small when I had it initially, but now they're preteen and teen, and they don't come out here and help me anymore. But oh yeah, I bet you that is awesome with all the snow. Um, that endless white, undisturbed snow looks probably amazing. I haven't experienced anything like that flying, and I learned to fly in Southern California, so we'd get snow in the mountains and stuff, but that's your typical. Uh, wouldn't last very long. It may just stay at the peaks, but didn't cover trees for more than a day. But you can imagine, how beautiful that would be with all the snow. Yeah. When we finished my uncle's, we go back to the other screen. When we finished my uncle's, we flew it to Oshkosh, and that was really fun. Just great machine, trims out really well. You know this, but it's just amazing how you just set the trim and it's pretty much on rails after that. Um, pull the power back and just see that fuel flow just dip, but faster than a Cessna that I was training in, and it brings a lot of joy to fly this airplane. I've got a little bit of background in aeronautical studies, and there's two books written about the Europa wing, and I've been reading those lately, and it's just amazing how much history is in those wings. The engineers that designed them and whatnot. My grandpa was a aeronautical engineer for Lockheed. My uncle and grandpa were considering the Kit Fox at the time, and they decided to go to England to check out the Europa, and they flew the Europa prototype, and they fell in love with it. When they came to the States, I remember getting a ride in it, and I just thought it was awesome. Just the responsiveness compared to what I was flying at the time. It was a great airplane. Yeah. 30 minutes from Yellowstone. I bet that's. I haven't been to Yellowstone. That's something I'd love to see too. I think the farthest north I went for, uh, those kind of scenic uh, areas was Bryce Canyon. I think then we came back south, and of course I went timber riddle in Prescott, so I got to see the Grand Canyon. But I couldn't imagine that area with Yellowstone. It's just got to be beautiful up there. Yeah, it was. We had a guy in our meeting today that showed up with, or didn't show up with the Sonics, but showed up and talked about his Sonics, and it sounds like he had a Sonics 1, with the folding wings and stuff, and he was showing pictures of it, and that looks like a really fun airplane. I've seen them before, and I always thought it'd be really cool if Sonics kind of did a gull wing design and folded it, because every time I see them, the wings folded, I think of a Corsair on the deck or something. But it is a cool airplane. Oh yeah, I bet. What is the Sonics cruise at? That's a that's a pretty long flight for you, I'm sure. Gull wing design and folded it, because every time I see them, the wings folded, I think of a Corsair on the deck or something. But it is a cool airplane. Oh yeah, I bet. This Europa was an abandoned project that I picked up in Florida. It was I don't remember the name of the shop it came out of, but it was next to Bud Yearley's shop. There's another one, and yeah, I picked this up, drove it home. Good friend of mine went down there as long as along with my uncle, and we drove it back. And been a lot of little things that have been going into this. I think the biggest project that was a pain was doing the conversion to a tri-gear, because the top is already on, versus when it was, the plans call for you to do all those layups when it's off, so you got a lot more room. And here it was, we did something very similar. We had this up a little higher and almost on its side completely. That way you would stand vertically in there and do your layups. But I think I counted something like 90 layups to do the gear sockets. It was quite a job. There's actually a lot of photos of that being done on europaowners.org, a little media page out there. And if you go to like one of the last pages in back one, like the second to the last or something, you'll see this kit there, and a lot of pictures of me doing various work on it. Well, that's pretty fast for the Sonics. Yeah, it has it's an XS kit. Now the wings are done. I will try to move this camera over. So let me lift this camera and try to keep it as steady as possible. Yeah, it has it's an XS kit. Now the wings are done. I will try. All right, they look kind of crappy, but the wings are right over there. So let me lift this camera, and you can see the tail is leaning kind of up against them there. But yeah, the wings are complete. You probably, if you saw the video I put out there about converting the flap mount from the outrigger to the tri-gear, probably got a little peek of the wings. But yeah, the wings have been done for a while, and they're just waiting for me to finish the airplane to get caught up on that. on that portion. So it's all painted, ready to go. I probably am going to the initial swap cameras. The initial build of them, I put the Warren lighting system on it, strobe light system, and now with Aero LED being so prevalent and less of an amperage draw, I'm probably going to take that system out and change that over to the Aero LED stuff, just because of the Rotax. I do have the alternator for the Rotax, but if I don't need it, then I don't want to run it for the weight, and I'm just going to go really simple with the panel. Maybe use like an iPad or an Android for kind of a navigation display and put in some real basic instruments. I'm not really set on the big glass panel stuff. I learned to fly on a 6-pack when I flew jets in the Navy. I learned in a T2 Buckeye that had 1960 gauges in there. So the old steam gauges I'm quite at home with those. And as far as packing in real Garmin X3 and stuff, it's nice, but I don't really think I need it. For what the technology already has out there, it's kind of easy for me to go simple on that, and it's cheaper. So I'm kind of a frugal guy anyway. Yeah, I need to. I don't have wheel pants for the landing gear, and I think I was talking to Bud, and he was talking about using some Vans wheel pants and just modify them a bit. And I may look into that a little bit more. Right now, I plan to just finish the airplane without wheel pants, and then come back and button it up a little bit, clean it up on that. There are some things that I need to do as far as addressing the wings, putting some fairings on the flap attachments, kind of clean those up. I remember my grandpa making molds for those, and they look really sharp, real simple. I have the molds that come with the kit, or I guess you purchase them in addition to the kit, but they're really boxy and bulky. I think I can get away with, well, my uncle's, they're really small and a little more streamlined, in my opinion. They look better. I think these ones that come from Europa and they're nice, but I just think they're a little gaudy. You got do a lot of cutting on them and whatnot. So that's something that I'll probably do as a phase 2 of cleaning up the aerodynamics of the plane by putting those on and wheel pants and stuff like that. The one thing that I do wish I had was I'll probably bring this up in the meeting on the monthly meeting, but if someone's got the cover for the fuel filler here, versus paying crazy amount in shipping from the UK, where I can do a splash mold off of it and then make my own, that would be good. I started to do something with cardboard cutouts. This was my cover for the fuel filler. I don't know how well you could see it, but I started kind of like a side profile that goes against it, and I was just going to kind of make a jig, or a mold, if you will, fill it with foam and sand it down to the profile, and then do a glass layup on it, which is probably the way to go on that, and just to cover that up, because it looks kind of ugly just sitting there in the plane without some kind of way to dress it up and box it off. Make a jig, or a mold, if you will, fill it with foam. Yeah, all of those flap attachments. I mean, your statement here on under the plane, and anything that sticks out in the wind. I'm trying to build up some kind of fairing for it to be a little more streamlined and some kind of way to dress it up and box it off. Get an extra knot or two in performance. Yeah, but all of those flap attachments are in your statement here on under the plane, and anything that sticks out. Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely try to make the next meeting and just streamline. I know there's Europa owners scattered through all the United States, and my uncle used to fly out to the one from California, and I don't think he has done that in a while when they used to do gatherings. But yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely we'll try and make the next meeting for sure. I know there's Europa owners scattered through all the United States, and yeah. So my uncle used to fly out to. Now I didn't catch this earlier. Is yours a monowheel or a tri-gear Europa? I might have little questions for you on what you wish you would have done differently or what have you, and but I know there's yeah. So I don't know. I've been debating on different ways to do the glass windshield install. My uncle said, "Oh, just use that 3M very high bond tape, and just stick it on there." And I'm contemplating it. I do have some Aerolite 420, but it's aged out now, so I'd have to do a test layup on it to see how well that sticks. But God, that stuff is super expensive. When I sourced it initially, I bought it from a place that sold near end of life or end of pot stuff, and when I picked it up, it was close to end of life, and of course, did test layups, and it tested out fine, and just used that for the socket layups and whatnot when I ran out of the other stuff, and that's what I have left is what I'm trying to say. So I think I do have enough to do the front windshield, but I just know it's a messy job. The very high bond stuff, the VHB it is what they say it is as far as strength, and that may be an option. I've been trying to, well, not trying, but I've been wanting to get a hold of somebody that maybe has used that as an option and see what they feel about it. I also have to do the, I got those ultimate ventilators. Here in Alabama, it gets hot. So, and airflow is key. So I got those, and I've been trying to figure out where the best placement would be, somewhere on the side of the plane. I've been looking at other people's projects to see where they've decided to go, and one guy, very, very clean. I've only seen a picture of the plane, but very clean inside. He had it mounted kind of in the corner of the plexiglass, and it's a little I don't know how comfortable I would putting a hole in the plexiglass. It's kind of an expensive replacement. Yeah, my email is, I don't know if it's the same as well, I know it's the same as my account here, but it's the last six of it's the first six characters of my last name. So Philly and then K747@gmail.com. Oh, you put them in the glass. Yeah. So that is I don't know. I do have two windshields, but I don't know if I want it. I've been kind of kicking around the idea of, oh Lord, if I crack that, then I'd feel pretty bad about cracking it. And I imagine they would be a lot better up here, you know, in the glass because of the way it would be around your face and chest area versus down here where it'd be, you know, blocked by your knee and stuff. My uncle did what the plans called for were the NACA and the NACA they don't do the right. You got to do them absolutely perfect to make them useful. And you know, almost every NACA you see somebody put a little tab on it to scoop air in. They're, they're not they're not great for vents. Maybe other people have better success, but everybody that I've talked to about them, they were like, oh yeah, tabs are the only way to make them useful. But yeah, cut real slow for sure. Did you use a flywheel cutter for that, or did you use a regular like hole saw when you cut the? Yeah, yeah. I imagine it's much better up at that level. Plus, there's more of a rounded surface here, so it kind of catches a little bit different air versus along the side of the fuselage. I'd imagine this has got a little more velocity in this bend. I don't know. I've never seen any wind tunnel tests in this area, so I don't know for sure. But just the thought of it kind of scooping up here where the angle kind of increases a little bit, it might catch a little bit better. Ah, hole saw, yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think I'm going to sign off. It was great talking with you. Even though I'm chatting in the blind here, but I hope to do a little bit more of this. Tomorrow I'll probably just turn it on. Like I said, you can just watch me finish up the access panel just by all I'm doing is a quick layup with flocks and just filling in kind of the holes where the screws go, give it a little bit better surface area. And then, so it won't be a very long thing. I don't know, something different every time, I guess. But all right, well, I appreciate you joining and listening to me ramble on, but I'll try and get on that meeting and kind of introduce myself there and get connected with the Europa family once again, as you could say. All right. Well, I'm gonna go step over here and turn the feed off, and you have a good night. I appreciate you joining and listening to me ramble on, but I'll try and get on that meeting and kind of introduce myself there and